Hello, this is Burr Stewart, and welcome to part 111 of my continuing series of model railroad operations videos. In this case, we're going to focus on Brian Elchlepp's beautiful sounds, as well as some great switching maneuvers in Argo Yard, and in the middle we'll also get a little construction update. So let's get started. Here in the Bayside Yard, Brian Elchlepp was testing out a couple of his diesels. It had very beautiful sound, so I wanted you to listen to how nice the sound is, and I'll try not to talk too much in this part of the video. As you know, this layout is set in 1973, so that BN diesel doesn't belong here because it only came to the Burrlington Northern in 1980 from the merger with the Frisco. Details. The same, of course, is true of the Santa Fe locomotive, but I just love Brian's engines and the sound of them particularly. A little while later, after running around the layout, he wanted to put the caboose back in the caboose track. Well, that's very nice. I really like these Athearn SW1500 switchers, so I thought I'd let you just gaze on that for a minute. And later in the video, we'll have another one of these units doing some switching in Argo Yard. Looks like the crew is pumped up for it. Now here's a construction update. Over in the narrow gauge part of the layout, we were laying some track in the mine area. And then, as I think I've showed you before, I'm remodeling part of the Burrlington yard that will have an ice house and ice loading dock. And this was just weights to hold that roadbed down before we put the new track in. And then to the left of the ice loading dock, I needed to remove a piece of track. And this is a good illustration of why I really like to glue my track down with liquid latex, because after a few years, it doesn't hold all that well. And you can see from what I'm doing here that I was able to just use a putty knife to scrape underneath the ties. And to fully recover this piece of flex track because it was glued down with something reasonably soft. See, they're perfectly good. I didn't remove the ties from the rail. I can reuse this piece of track. That's the advantage of liquid latex. The other advantage is it's not water soluble after it dries. So when you put down ballast, you can put ballast down and glue it with Elmer's glue. So this is the advantage of gluing your track down with liquid latex, is you can just scrape it off.
Oh, and you know what? That's exactly that's what I was looking for. That's the liquid latex?
No, that isn't. But I'll find it for you. See how well this and then if you've done that, of course, it holds the track, the ballast holds the track down really well. And then if you want to remove it, you can just wet it. In this case, I had glued the ballast down with liquid latex, so the whole thing, as you see, just scraped up fine with no water. All right, let's go take a look. Well, now on to some fun switching. Scott had been doing some cleaning up of the cars in the Stacy Street yard, in South Seattle. And he ended up with a transfer that needed to be run to the Milwaukee and Union Pacific interchanges that occurred in Argo Yard. So here he's pulling that whole cut of cars, and he's going to put some of them on a Milwaukee transfer track and another one on a UP transfer track. And we'll get to enjoy some bangs and watch a little switching. One of the things you can look for is that Scott, being a retired railroader, knows that when you bang into some cars, you have to pull the stretch test right after to make sure that they correctly coupled. And this next sequence will illustrate that quite nicely, because every time he bangs into cars, he tests it, even if he's pushing the cars, because you don't want a cut of cars to run away from you because they're not properly coupled up and the air hose is connected. This first set of cars that he took off the transfer cut, I believe, are going to the Milwaukee. There actually was a bang into some cars on the left, which I forgot to capture. But there's enough bangs here for all of us to be satisfied. If you recognize some of these cars, that's because we've been operating the railroad while we've been making videos, and they keep moving around from one place to another per their waybills. You can see he's put some of the car cards and waybills down right on the road surface there, which is theoretically a no-no, but it's actually pretty handy when there's no reason not to do it. Now we can have our first bang. Bang!
Too much delay.
Those tires in that gondola car came from a Lego store. They make little tires that look like the right size. You notice Scott is using his uncoupling pick to flip the ground throw. Bang! Now, if you look carefully, that didn't couple actually, and the stretch test proved it. So now he's going to bang it a little harder. Bang! And hopefully that'll fix it. Yeah, see, now the stretch test works, and so he's safe to push some of those cars back. I think he's going to pull some of the cars to put on a third track. You'll notice there's an upper deck above this yard, and we're about to see one of the problems with doing that. As a layout designer, it makes uncoupling a little difficult at times, although so far he's been doing fine. So he's left those cars there, I believe for the Union Pacific, and now he's got just a couple more cars to deal with. Bang! Stretch test. Shove. And now all he has to do is uncouple the engine, but he's right underneath a bridge on the upper deck, so he doesn't have a good angle on it. See that? Very awkward, and of course now he just derailed another car, possibly, with his hand. There's the view from the other side of the bridge. Yeah, awkward at best. He was able to get it done, but he had to re-rail that car, which took a while, reaching in there. And now he's delivered his transfer cut, and he's going to go back to the Stacy Street yard. Now you might say, why doesn't he take some cars from the Milwaukee and the UP that are interchanging with the BN? And the answer is there were work rules that because all of the railroads wanted their own crews to do their own work, so if the UP had cars to take to the BN, they needed to use their own switcher for that. Same with the Milwaukee. Well, that saves this crew a little time. They can just go home. On the prototype, this crossing is a very busy Royal Brown 4-lane road. We've got the 4 lanes, but as you heard there, we don't always blow for it. And that brings us to the end of another operations video. I hope you've enjoyed it, and you'll look at the other videos on my channel. And this is Burr Stewart wishing you much fun with trains.